Right now, we're going to talk a little bit about efforts to, jumpstart our community economically and provide jobs and bring dollars into our area. And Battle Creek Unlimited has been a force doing that for some time now. And Joe Sobieralski is the CEO. He's with us right now. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Tim. Good to be here.
Good to have you with us today. And I know congratulations are in order. You recently had your contract extended.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's an exciting time for myself personally, but also I think for Battle Creek Unlimited and the community as we continue to push forward on the economic development front.
Well, it's been like 4 years now since you took over as an interim, and then you've been the CEO now for how long? Like
A couple years, 3 years.
Yeah.
I joined the organization in December of 2015.
Well, lots to do,
Right.
Lots going on too. Little project I noticed, the Tiger Room, the St.
Right.
Philip Tiger Room. Some money came to kind of maybe give that a nudge.
Right.
I looked into the history of that room a little bit because I was very curious about it, and it's pretty interesting where it all comes from. Except I lost it. Where did I put that? Oh, there it is. We had these pump companies in town, and this goes all the way back. I mean, most people know the Tiger Room. That's where they had dances and where they, the guys would be up there hitting balls, and all kinds of stuff. And of course, the thrift shop, which is still in the lower level and has been, an important little piece of the community for a long time. But this pump company started the Battle Creek Machinery Company in 1873.
Oh, wow.
And these guys were just making woodworking machines. But then they saw this need for industrial pumps, so they started making these force feed pumps in 1880. And we had this guy in town named Elon Marsh. It was a lot like Elon Musk.
Yeah, right.
And he patented this thing, and the company really took off. And, that whole area is just, like where the St. Philip parking lot is and where the linear path is, all the way up to the Tiger Room. It was just this gigantic industrial complex with smokestacks and everything where they made these pumps. Well, they built the Tiger Room in 1903, I believe. And it's funny, there was an article in the local paper that said, the new building for the American Steam Pump Company at the corner of East Van Buren and North Monroe Streets is being worked upon by a large number of men, but it is a large task and will not be done for some time yet. It will be a fine structure. And then a few months later, this was in February of 1903. The recently completed pattern house of the American Steam Pump Company at East Van Buren and North Monroe Streets is the subject of many commendatory remarks. The building is handsome and substantial and is fireproof, no wood having entered into its construction. The building materials are paving brick, Portland cement, and unbreakable glass. Through the panes, which finely meshed wires are woven. The building is nearly fireproof, and as human ingenuity can make it, and the attractive style of architecture makes it one of the handsomest in the city. Yeah, Battle Creek Moon Journal, 1903.
Wow.
And so there's some effort going on to try and preserve that building. It's got to be a big thing for the church to have to take care of. And so Father John had this idea. Father John Fleckenstein, I think 4 or 5 years ago. And so tell us what's happening with that.
Well, you're right. The church has been working on this for quite some time, and recently, really, it's been over the last year or so. It's gotten some legs. BCU staff has supported the church by helping with going after some grants, and a big one with the EDA. That will be submitted this fall, but recently, MDART has thrown their support behind it with $125,000. So all of the pieces are starting to come together in preparation for the possibility of a larger grant from the EDA through the federal government.
And that would be the big thing. I mean, this $125,000 really is a very small pittance and compared to what is needed.
Right.
But is that how things work? Once somebody sees some
Yes.
movement, then that spurs other movement.
Yes, I call it leveraging. Everybody wants to leverage everybody else's dollars. So
Mhm.
if you're an organization that is giving away dollars and you're giving away 125,000, but it's going to a project that could be $4 million, you're leveraging other dollars, and it's very common.
So the idea is maybe to have some kitchens in there, sort of like the
Yep.
kitchen that we put down on the parking ramp across from the former brewery downtown.
So this is it's intended to be an accelerator. If you've got a good idea or a good product and you've been cooking out of your kitchen and you're going to the farmer's market and you start to get some sales, well, you're getting to a point where you need to get out of your house. You need to get into a commercial space to be accelerated to the next level. And then the hope is you're only there for a while because you've grown sales beyond even being in the accelerator. And you just create this food ecosystem here locally.
Yeah, and you're going to put accelerator kitchens in there. What better place than a fireproof 1903 building?
Absolutely.
Well, that's great. I guess the bigger news that people are talking about is the brewery that's supposed to go in Mckinley in Michigan, the new Holland Brewery, and that.
Yeah.
The last time we had you here, you said they're still coming.
They're
still coming, but there have been some delays. There have been some obstacles. Tell us what the status is. What are those obstacles?
So first and foremost, they're still coming. They're still committed to Battle Creek, and like many construction projects, anywhere, and even in Battle Creek, some of these things, once you get into them, take a little bit longer, cost a little bit more, and that slows the process down. So the good news is they're still coming. The project has grown in scope. If you look at the original investment amount compared to what it is now, the city of Battle Creek will be considering an Oprah tax abatement here in the coming weeks that reflects an additional $1 million in just the real estate development alone. So those things have all really kind of set the timeline back, but I'm very optimistic that people will see some activity there this early fall at the site itself. It'll probably be a 6-7 month construction project.
There was a posting on Facebook from somebody who said that a previous owner had filled pipes with concrete. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I not to my knowledge, I don't believe that's the case. But there's a lot of construction and some rehabilitation that is needed with that facility.
That is more substantial than first thought.
Yes.
Now, has New Holland said, look, if this tax break doesn't go through the commission, we might not be able to do it, or is there any kind of talk like that?
No, there's no talk like that.
Okay. So we're just
this is really just an amendment.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten the $2.5 million Oprah approved. So this is an amendment to increase the dollar amounts by $1 million. So they've already been approved for the $2.5 million.
The Mckinley Plaza Hotel project, that's been a little bit frustrating too, and we've talked not only you and I about it, but others at the city, that it's frustrating to get the current owners to move along with the repairs to get it in line with what the Hilton wants to move in there. And what BCU actually gave them a bunch of money to do that, right?
We loaned back in early 2018 nearly $3.5 million from our direct investment fund to get that to a standard that would meet the DoubleTree standard to have DoubleTree signage flown on the outside. And it's been a slow process, and part of our loan commitment was to have it tied to the DoubleTree property improvement plan, and that has not come to fruition at this point.
So now, there's a story that they're trying to sell the place?
Yeah, they do have it actively listed for sale. The ownership did relay that to us. That's their prerogative, but our prerogative is to still get that up to a DoubleTree standard, or the likes of a DoubleTree.
What's the status of the grant money that you spotted them to make those repairs? Has that been spent?
It wasn't grant money; it was loan money.
Loan money.
Yes, yes. So
Excuse me.
they've they received a loan, and they are making their payments as just any typical loan designee would.
Okay. And so, so as long as they make their payments, whether or not they're doing what you'd hope they'd do with that loan, it's kind of out of your control.
Well, I wouldn't say it's totally out of the control, because there was some. It was tied to getting the DoubleTree flag, so
Okay.
there is still a milestone there that has to be met.
What needs to be done?
You know, I didn't know a whole lot about the hotel business before we did this loan, but it's pretty standard in the industry. They call it a property improvement plan, which, if you're Hilton or you're Marriott or whatever, you have certain color schemes, certain carpet, certain furniture, all of those things that need to be met before you're going to put your name on it. And there's a couple steps left that need to be complete before they'll sign off on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's in the lobby area.
Have there been discussions with the Hilton people, as far as progress reports? Or
Yes, we have constant dialogue with the Hilton folks.
Yeah, and they're still very interested in coming here.
Absolutely, yes.
Joe Sobieralski, the CEO of Battle Creek Unlimited, is with us. Battle Creek Unlimited traditionally has been Fort centered.
Yes.
But I would say in the last couple of years, you guys have kind of moved into the downtown, that maybe kind of nudge along some of these projects that we've talked about.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about the thought process there of the BCU board and doing those kind of things, and do you envision staying downtown, or getting the job done and heading back out to the fort, or are both things synonymous, or what?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. We're in a different time period. We're at 3.7% unemployment rate. Employers are fighting for employees, and really, we started to hear feedback from our companies that we're interested in having a more vibrant community, a vibrant downtown. We want places to take people to entertain. Should we have a business meeting? So that's really kind of when we dipped our toe downtown, because for our companies to continue to grow and be successful in the fort, for them to attract talent to the area, sense of place, a vibrant downtown, and that's really why we entered the downtown scene. And we're there. There's others working on downtown as well, but we're there to push the ball forward, and I think we're going to be there for the foreseeable future, because these projects take quite a long time. But I see the downtown as the center of a community, the heart of a community. That's what, if you're an outsider, when you come to Battle Creek, that's what you remember when you go to any community, is that's downtown. So once you get the downtown kind of firing on all cylinders, I would see maybe a push out to some of the other corridors in collaboration with others. But right now, downtown is a huge focus.
Well, and as we were talking about with the Tiger Room, it's not a giant grant there, but it's one that could possibly open the floodgates for more support. And so then when BCU, which has considerable resources, is investing in trying to help things downtown, then all of a sudden other partners start stepping up, and vice versa. Other partners have stepped up first too. But I guess it takes a village when it comes to this kind of thing.
It does.
And WK Kellogg Foundation now is ponying up $2 million.
Absolutely. When we talk about leveraging, we did a pilot program with the Restore 269 group and New Holland, and we demonstrated what type of investment could come to this community, and really how much additional investment some of these downtown buildings needed to get those two projects going. So it really demonstrated the need on a larger basis to go after a grant, and the Kellogg Foundation stepped up to the tune of $2 million to help getting some of these large abandoned spaces up to modern codes, so that it makes it easier for folks to invest. And I can tell you, it's been just in the short month and a half that it's been announced, it's been widely very popular. We've got nearly 800,000 of it already committed for projects that will probably soon to be announced in the coming months.
Oh, can't wait to hear, because there are a lot of buildings down there that you look at and you think, yeah, I don't know if I want to take a chance on that, because it's going to be a little bit of work to get from A to B.
Right.
And so now we've got some help to get those gaps, get some things done to get those buildings in better shape. And then all of a sudden, who knows what happens?
Right.
That's great. Hand Map Brewing, you did mention them. Any status report from them?
I see they are doing a mug club release at Squirrel Hollow. If you check out their Facebook page, they just released a date in early September. But they and Restore 269 are moving along on the facility. As you drive by, you can see there's new windows going in. So very exciting time. That project's moving along very well.
Yep, I see the utility crews had blocked off Carlisle last week.
Yeah.
They were doing some stuff underneath the road and across the road and stuff. So that's a good sign too. Stuff is happening. Finally, the Milton. They got to be close to having people look at some of those apartments, right?
Yeah, from what I understand from the leasing agent with Village Green, I believe it's this week or next week. A couple units are going to be available to where they can start giving tours to interested tenants to actually see what a finished product would look like.
Yeah, can't wait to see that and get in there and maybe snap a few photos that we can share with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be great. All right. Well, Joe, thanks for stopping by and giving us a BCU update, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tim.